Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to have a look at an absolutely brilliant what we call a holy grail trade on the down mini, the YM, that unfolded yesterday, which was Wednesday the 17th of December. This is all about what MTPredictor is all about having trades where we can have large profits and keep our losses small. But before I get to the YM I want to set the scene on the other markets. So the ES, this is the ES yesterday. You can see it rallied most of the day. There was the Fed meeting at 2 o'clock Eastern time that the market rallied off initially, declined down, then rallied back again. But let's have a look at the 15-minute chart of the ES, because this is what I want to do to basically set the day up yesterday. Right, and we were talking about this live in our training webinar yesterday as well. What we tend to do is we tend to go back to the previous or prior swing pivots. So before yesterday opened, we had a prior pivot back here. So what we did is right mouse clicked and put a decision point on our chart. We noted that caught the low of the day on Tuesday. So therefore we were saying that we're anticipating a strong rally to unfold during the day yesterday. The next target for resistance would have been the DP from up here, and as you can see it hasn't actually got there yet. So the larger degree trend on the ES was up off this beautiful support zone here. So this is what we're saying, we're anticipating a rally. Let's have a look at the NQ. NQ is in a very similar position. There's our prior pivot. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that, just clear that off. Here's our DP. And as you can see, that also caught the low of the day on the prior day, which was Thursday. Sorry, not Thursday, which is Tuesday. And in fact, we actually had an automatic DP buy set up. But again, we had good support and the large degree trend was up. We're still anticipating it to rally up into this target level, which obviously it hasn't reached. So on the NQ and more importantly on the ES, we had major support and we're anticipating a rally. Let's have a look at the YM. And the YM was awfully close, because the YM, if we come back to this prior pivot here, it didn't quite make it. You can see it was awfully close to it, but actually it was making a bit of a double bottom. So if we actually put a line on here, you can see there's our low level from the prior pivot, just about there. So you can see we're basically making support at that level. Now what do we need for a holy grail trade setup? Well, if I go down to the 3-minute chart of the YM, what we're looking for is we're looking for important support. Now this didn't quite get it on the YM chart itself, but we were at a double bottom. You can see there's my line from the double bottom. I'll just take that off now you've seen it. But the most important thing is we did anticipate there was going to be a large degree rally in the ES and the NQ. The only thing that would basically we were slightly hesitant about was we knew that the Fed meeting was later in the day. So before a Fed meeting, markets tend to chop sideways, and then obviously when the Fed meeting comes in you get these large swings. So we're just saying that you want to be a little bit cautious about it. But at the time we're then looking for what we call buy setups or holy grail trade setups. These are where you had the initial rally come in, you then had the initial correction. This initial correction in Elliott wave terms would be a wave 2. We say one an A or 2 or B in our tool here, but this is actually a wave 2. It's a wave 2 because it's the initial correction of the initial rally off an important low. Now remember, we're actually saying that we actually had a double bottom in the YM, but also DP support on the 15-minute ES, most importantly, and the NQ. Now what does this mean from a trade perspective? From a trade perspective, it means that if this is a wave 2, we're then anticipating a strong wave 3 kind of rally. We had a first attempt at it here. If I place the analysis on this blue buy bar, you can see that the market took you in and we then have stopped you out. Trades that are stopped out are fine, and it's important to understand and know and accept that you will actually get trading losses as a trader, but the trick is keeping the losses small. This is where we use correct position size and to keep our initial risks small and under control. This is 2% risk on a sample $20,000 US dollar account. So here we'll be trading 3 contracts. So this keeps our position sizing, or our position size, correctly to keep our initial risk small. So that would be a losing trade. It's important to understand that all trading will have losses. And again, I'm going to say that again. It's important to understand that any trade strategy will have losses, but the important point is keeping the losses small. We then had another TS2 buy setup come in here, which was not quite the low of the day, but pretty close to the low of the day. This took you in and the trade rallied up nicely. But the important thing about a Holy Grail trade setup is we're not going to the first target, we're anticipating a wave 3 kind of rally. Remember, because this is the important low, this is the initial rally, which is wave 1, this is the initial correction, which is wave 2, which we anticipate, which subdivides into a minor ABC. Therefore, we're anticipating a strong wave 3 type of rally, and that's exactly what it did. Yes, it was a little bit choppy and a bit sideways before the Fed meeting came in. Then as the Fed meeting came in, the market rallied strongly and came right up to our typical wave 3 WPT target. And this is why I like these Holy Grail trade setups, and then one of my 2 favourite trade setups along with the VSA setup in MTPredictor. And it's actually why MTPredictor was designed in the first place. Because we know that wave 3s are the strongest and longest in a completed 5-wave sequence. Therefore, as you can see here, they represent the largest profit potential in relation to the initial risk. In this particular trade, it would have returned approximately a 10.8R profit based on the initial risk. Again, the position sizing takes over here. You can see this time we're going long 4 contracts, again to keep our initial risk less than 2% of a sample $20,000 account. But this is why these are my favourite trades, because the profits are large, a lot larger than the initial risk. If you had trades where the profits are 10 times the initial risk, you can now make another 7, 8, 9 losing trades and still be in profit overall. This is what's so good about this trade setup. This is why I wanted to do the video on this one today, just to show the result of this, particularly because we were actually talking about this in our live training webinar yesterday, and I think John was looking in particular and saying that he was anticipating a strong rally yesterday, which is exactly what unfolded. That's why we liked the idea of this Holy Grail trade setup. Our only reservation was because we knew there was going to be the Fed meeting later on, and we know that going into the Fed meeting, or the run-up, is normally choppy and sideways. As you can see, this is what unfolded here, and obviously it's very choppy and whipsawy when the meeting is actually, or the meeting is announced. And that's exactly what happened there. But this gave you the chance to come out here for a very nice profit. For you guys who wanted to pyramid, there was another opportunity to take a pyramid here. So you could have put 10R in at that particular level, and if you wanted to then pyramid and come up to exactly the same level, which was around about there, you could have actually added approximately another 9R profit as well, as the market went up to that level there on this pyramid, on this TS2 buy setup. This was a standard MTPredictor trade setup as well. Even at the standard level, you'd have come out here at 4R profit, and you'd probably got some positive slippage as the market was rallying up here quickly. But again, because you were anticipating the Fed meeting coming out fairly soon, here you may not have actually pyramided that. So the main trade I really want to look at today was this Holy Grail trade setup. Remember, we had a losing trade first, which was denoted by a history triangle. Losses are okay as long as they're kept small, but then this was the profitable Holy Grail trade setup where the market rallied up nicely into our typical wave 3 WPT, where a lovely profit of approximately 10.8 times initial risk was available. Again, it's important to understand that we do have losses. Every trading system has losses, but the trick is keeping the losses small. So that was a great example yesterday of a Holy Grail trade setup on the YM 3-minute that, as you can see, produced a lovely 10R profit. And this is what MTPredictor is all about, uncovering trade setups where the profits are large and the losses, when they come through, and every system will have losses, the losses are kept small. Small losses and big profits, that's the key to successful trading.